The Galactic Council had ruled for thousands of years. Across the stars, their fleets ensured order, their laws enforced peace, and their word was final. They spoke of stability, of unity, but beneath their proud speeches lived a quiet fear: the memory of Earth. Centuries ago, humanity had vanished from the Council's records. Their colonies fell silent, their fleets withdrew, and no trace of their once bold explorers remained. The galaxy assumed humanity had been destroyed, consumed by war, or undone by its own reckless ambition. The Council dismissed them as a failed species, weak, forgotten, irrelevant. But among the oldest admirals, a whisper endured: if humans rise again, they will not come back as beggars. They will come back as storms. It began on the rim. In a dark sector where no beacon had shone for 1,000 years, a signal broke through. It wasn't alien. It wasn't unknown. It was human. Council fleets were dispatched to investigate. Cruisers and scouts moved cautiously into the void, their sensors straining against the darkness. And then they saw it. A warship, vast, black as the void itself, covered in scars of battles long past. It moved without escorts, without banners, and yet the power radiating from its hull dwarfed anything the Council had ever seen. It bore a single name etched in white across its side: Erebus. The Council chamber erupted in panic. Old voices warned, the young ones. The humans are not dead. They have been waiting. The Erebus was not just a ship. It was a fortress, a beast born of centuries of exile and silence. Inside, humans walked its steel halls with quiet purpose. Their uniforms bore no nation, no council emblem, only the crest of Earth, a blue sphere ringed by stars. Captain Elias Caney stood on the command deck watching as council fleets shadowed his ship at a distance. His face was lined with years, his eyes weary, but his voice carried a steel the galaxy had long forgotten. Centuries in darkness, he said softly. They thought us broken. They thought us gone. Now they will remember. The Erebus had slept in the void, hidden, its systems dormant. Humanity had not died. It had gone silent. They built in secret, away from the Council's eyes, forging weapons beyond imagination. Not out of conquest, but out of necessity. They had learned. They had adapted. And now they were ready. The Council, desperate to assert dominance, sent an armada. 200 warships, each bristling with weapons, advanced on the solitary Erebus. Council leaders believed sheer numbers would crush this ghost of Earth. They thought humanity's silence meant weakness, but the humans did not tremble. On the command deck, Captain Caney gave a single order: show them the void they feared. The Erebus moved. Its engines did not roar, they whispered. Space bent around it, stars rippling like waves. When the Council fleet fired, their weapons struck nothing but shadows. The Erebus answered once. A single broadside lit the void. One pulse of energy tore through 10 cruisers at once, slicing their hulls open as if made of paper. Silence followed. Not just the silence of destroyed ships, but the silence of fear. The Council armada broke, retreating into the darkness. The galaxy, for the first time in ages, realized it was no longer safe. News spread like wildfire. Across the stars, alien species whispered of the human ship that had risen from nowhere and humbled the Council's might. Some cheered, others hid, but none could ignore. The Council scrambled to regain control. They branded the Erebus a rogue vessel, a threat to galactic order. They painted humanity as reckless warmongers returning to sow chaos. But among the oppressed worlds, among the colonies crushed under Council rule, the truth rang louder. Humanity had returned, and they did not kneel. Captain Caney gathered his crew in the warship's great hall. They will call us monsters, he said. They will say we are the nightmare of the stars. But we are not here for conquest. We are here because they must never forget what it means to be free. The humans had not hidden in darkness for ambition. They had hidden to escape the Council's chains. Now, The galaxy saw them rise not as tyrants, but as a warning. The Council prepared its greatest weapon, the Eternal Fleet. Thousands of ships forged over centuries, a navy meant to ensure no enemy could ever threaten them. It was the Council's pride, their ultimate symbol of control. And yet, when they faced the Erebus, they hesitated. The human warship floated before them, a lone shadow against a sea of stars. Its weapons glowed faintly, its hull scarred but unbroken. The Council commanders spoke with arrogance. Surrender, and humanity will be spared. Resist, and you will be erased forever. Captain Caney did not flinch. His words were steady, carried across every channel. You have mistaken silence for death. You have mistaken patience for weakness. Humanity does not bow. Humanity endures. The battle that followed was chaos and fire. The Erebus cut through fleets like thunder through clouds. Its weapons tore open formations, its shields bent physics itself. But it was not invincible. Hulls cracked, alarms blared, crew fell. Humanity bled, but they did not break. And in the end, the Eternal Fleet faltered. The nightmare the Council had feared for centuries had come true. One human warship had humbled the might of the galaxy. When the smoke cleared, the Erebus drifted among the wreckage of thousands of ships. Fires burned across its hull, its engines strained, but it still lived. The galaxy looked on in silence. The Council's arrogance was shattered. Their worst nightmare had come to life, not because humanity sought to rule, but because humanity refused to die. Captain Caney stood on the bridge watching stars pierce the darkness. His voice was tired but filled with hope. We did not rise for war. We rose to remind them. We are here. We endure. And we will never vanish again. Across the galaxy, oppressed worlds lifted their heads. The Council's shadow no longer seemed eternal. A single human warship had shown them that power could be defied, that silence could give birth to storms. The Erebus, scarred but unbroken, turned toward the stars. Humanity was no longer a forgotten memory. They were a nightmare, reborn. They were a promise of freedom, and their story had only just begun.